What's up, guys? My name's Doofus Mcdooface, and in today's video, I want to talk about masterminds in Legion TD2. I wanted to talk about a sort of overview just because there's so many masterminds right now, right? There's a full page. They had to create a new page because there's so many masterminds. So if you're new to the game or even experienced at the game, maybe you only play half of them, maybe you only play one of them, right? But I would like to, in today's video, just sort of go over my basics of what each mastermind, what I visualize it as, how I'd play it, like the early game, the late game, just sort of an overview. And maybe it'll help explain, oh, I want to try that one. Or, oh, okay, I've been using this. Maybe not the most optimally. But if you enjoyed this, please let me know. Please like, please comment. Let's get right into it. Aristocrat. 5 income. No tier 1 fighters, right? So that means when you get your roll, there will be no option to take a tier 1. These are the units that are 25 gold or less. And you gain income for building and upgrading tier 6 fighters. So this mastermind is pretty much the way I see it, is just like greed, and we'll get to that. It's sort of like the basics, right? It's just like the basics. You get 5 income. The only difference is you do not have a tier 1. And you gain income for building a tier 6. Me personally, when I play this mastermind, I treat it just like I'm playing greed. I don't focus on getting out a tier 6, because if you do that, you'll actually under push. At least that was my problem a lot. You'll be so focused on, ooh, I need to get that tier 6. Ooh, I need to get the upgrade. And so, yeah, you're going to get that upgrade income. Yeah, you're going to get that tier 6 income. And then you look down, and you have 12 workers on wave 13 while your teammate has 24, and you're super far behind. And it doesn't matter if you can get extra income in the late game. But I will say Aristocrat for me feels like it's pretty balanced in the early game, and then the late game it can be strong. I feel like because of the upgradability, sort of more a focused late game mastermind. But be very wary of no tier 1. Can be hard. Cartel. 9 income to start with. This is the highest income you can start with in the game. But you lose 40 income after wave 10. And now, when I get to it, Castle is the complete opposite of this. Cartel and Castle are counterparts, and it will be really easy to compare these. So, you start with a massive lead, okay? How do you want to use this? Number 1, you can just income king, push lots of workers, try to scale, and make this minus 40 not that painful. You can also, as some people like to do, cartel starve, where because you have more income in the early game, you want to use it to punish your opponents, right? Oh, we can just go wave 8. I'm going to be able to survive their aggressive sends because we have high income. So let's try to be super Mythium aggressive in the early game. But be wary, if that doesn't work, you can be punished. And then also, if you go for that income king strategy, right, and you're behind on the P score, and then you get hit by the 10 income, that can also be very punishing. And then let's just jump ahead real quick. Castle is, of course, the opposite of that. You do not start with any gold, any income. It is the only mastermind in the game that you literally start with nothing. I mean, I guess Fiesta is similar, but and then after wave 10, you're going to get 47 income. So the way that I personally see Cartel and Castle, right? Cartel, I want the longest waves possible in the early game, right? I want the longest waves so that when that minus 40 hits, if I have 250 income and I go down to 210, that's not that bad, right? But if I had 100 income on wave 10 and it goes down to 60, that's 40%. That's 40% of my income lost. Whereas the 250 to 210 is, well, it's not even 25%, right? It's like 20%. Castle, I would say, is the opposite. Is you really want fast waves. You want to get to wave 11 as fast as possible. Because if you're even or ahead, and then you get that huge income buff, oh, baby, you are cooking. You are absolutely cooking at that point. So, but let's go back to cash out. Cash out start with extra gold, right? How do you want to use this? You can use it two ways, in my opinion, or you can just play a normal game. But the two ways that I think of when I play cash out, and it's sort of my like analytical doofus I was doing for a long time, is A, you build a tier 6, right? You can build about half, right? I think it's about half of the tier 6s you can get away with building with cash out. The Holy Avengers, the Lords of Death. I mean, you could do a gate. I probably don't want to do a gate. There's probably other ones that I'm not thinking of. But you start with a tier 6, and then you can push, and you're really not leaking realistically until wave 5 or wave 6 are you under pressure, right? So you're going for the let me overbuild here, and then deal with the problems later, right? You could also do that with like a big wig, things like that. The opposite way, the way I prefer to play it, is aiming for a 6 worker start, right? Trying to do a start where I can't leak on 2, even being 6 workers. A Whirlybird, right? A Whirlybird on wave 1, and then, or a Bone Crusher wave 1, and then I'll have enough gold for 2 or 3 bones on wave 2. Things like that, where you can push really, really hard. A Green Devil, you're still going to have the gold on wave 2 to add a split. Like things like that you're aiming to use the gold to instantly rush out workers so that it generates income faster, right? Or, like I said, you can play sort of the overbuildy. I mean, I guess you could do like Angler Steeds. If you get Egg would work pretty well with cash out because you have the extra gold to hopefully keep that egg alive. And then I guess you could just play a normal game and just, I just have the extra gold. I'm just going to play normal, not try to focus on pushing too hard, not try to focus on getting out a big unit. I'm just going to play normal, right? Champion. And this is exactly why I wanted to make this video, because I think the champion evolution thing is super confusing this patch, but really rewarding if you understand. So, champion. Permanently grant plus 13% attack speed and damage reduction to a single fighter, and then you take a 10 income hit after wave 10. Just so you understand, evolution, okay? Evolution, every unit has a new evolved form, okay? Once you've fully upgraded a unit, a Bone Warrior to Bone Crusher, can't upgrade it anymore. There is a final form, right? Think of the Chain Fist, Oathbreaker, final form Oathbreaker. But every unit, with the exception of Sakura, every unit for a, I believe, is it 12% or 10%? I think it's back to 10%. For a percentage cost of that unit, you get 10% damage reduction and 10% attack speed. Just like Champion, except you can put it on every unit, but it has to be upgraded. So why would I just not ever play Champion and only play Evolution? That's a good point. But the thing is, with Champion, it's a little bit higher attack speed and damage reduction. You don't get any income or gold, but you don't have to upgrade the unit. So like when I think about some of the best units of the game, I'm thinking Pipsqueak, right? I'm thinking Priestess of the Abyss. Yes, I think Poda is back. A Nightmare if I have Butcher, right? These are things that I can use Champion on and push super hard. Like if we're talking 6 workers with cash out, we might have a 7 worker with Champion. Because if you only have, let's say the first 5-6 waves of the game, you only have 3 units. One of my units is giga strong, right? One of my units is super duper strong. So the early game makes Champion just really, really useful. Now, you could still use Evolution. I mean, if you have a lot of like tier 2s, I mean, you can evolve a tier 2 already. But Champion, the way that I see it, okay, let's focus more on all the Masterminds, not just Champion and Evolution. Champion, the way I see it, is you need to use it in the early game, okay? If you can learn one thing from this video, if you're playing Champion, please, please, please try to use it when you're about to leak, right? So if you start like a Pipsqueak where you start a green devil, use it on wave 2 because you are leakable on wave 2, or if you're a flower or whatever, use it on wave 3 or wave 4. Whenever you're in danger of leaking, use it on a good unit. Don't get so attached to, I have a Holy Avenger, I have a Butcher, I have no way to get this Holy Avenger out, so let me just play the entire first 6, 7, 8, 9 waves of the game without using my massive buff, because then it's like, why did you even take it, right? I had this happen a very, very long time ago, where I had a teammate literally start a Windhawk, okay? The Windhawk unit. With the upgrade of Violet, they got the Violet. They did not use Champion until wave 11 on that Violet. A Violet that they had already on wave 4. So they were playing at a disadvantage the entire game for no reason, right? And I know you want to put it on that big tier 6. You want to put it on your gate, right? You want to have a champion Hellgate, and I get that. But honestly, the early game is so much more important. Imagine you have more workers to build 2 Hellgates than just 1 championed Hellgate. 2 gates is going to be better than 1 championed Hellgate. It's the truth. And then evolution. I think there's multiple ways to play it, right? You can sort of play it aggressively in the early game because you have an evolved unit. Or you can just play for the late game because, I mean, in the late game, you can literally just evolve everything, right? Evolution feels like it is busted in the late game, right? Really, really strong in the late game. So you can just play a consistent game. But yeah, the evolutions in the late game is amazing. Chaos, I think if you've played Legion, you might know about this one. I don't love it, but 3 income, 5 gold, new roll every wave, no rerolls. So you're going to get 6 new units every wave. 6 new units every wave. It is the RNG of RNG. Once again, I despise this Mastermind because it's very luck-based. But if I can teach you one thing about Chaos, it's don't get so focused on every combo, right? I used to play Chaos from time to time, and I would end the game with a Butcher, an Ocean Templar, an APS, a Dark Mage, a Disciple that I was going to use for Starcaller, a Aqua that back in the day I was going to use for a Rogue Wave. And I'd have no upgraded units. I wouldn't have any upgraded units because I wanted this and then I wanted that, right? So honestly, if you play Chaos, focus on upgrading the damn units. Don't be like Doofus Mcdooface and be a doofus, okay? Focus on getting some upgrades. Now, when you get the juice, use it, you know? Okay, I've finally upgraded my doppelganger. I have the Butcher. I have an APS. Okay, now I can start searching for a Dark Mage too. Okay, now I can start searching for Tree of Life. But like, make sure you get some oomph first, right? Make sure you actually get some strength on your units before you start overbuilding just for 8 different 100 combos, right? So just be careful with Chaos. And make sure to pray to the Chaos Gods. Fiesta. It's as simple as it sounds, right? You leak and you get gold. But I've done a lot of testing recently. And I now understand how bounty gold works. So if you are going to play Fiesta, it is extremely beneficial for you to leak the first couple of waves and then do not leak anymore. Leak wave 1, leak wave 2, leak wave 3, and then you really need to stop. And if you get a juicy leak on wave 5 or wave 6 or wave 7, it's like a 20% or 30%. That's cool, right? But don't be so focused on, oh, my Mastermind, I get gold for leaking, right? I should leak every wave. I get 8 gold on 1, I get 10 gold on 2, I get 12 gold on 3, and that's how it works, by the way. On wave 20, I get 48 gold. On wave 19, I get 46, right? That's sort of how it works. But it doesn't scale like crazy, right? So the simple economics of it is it's a downward curve where it's like wave 1, you can leak like 67. Wave 2, you can leak like 50. Wave 3, you can leak like 42 in order to have like net profit, right? If I leak, I'm going to lose 8 gold to the wave, but it's wave 2, so I get 10 gold. So I actually netted 2 gold profit, right? It's a lot less punishing the first couple of waves than it is on wave 6, 7, 8, 13, right? You can leak 1 creep on wave 14, and I'm fairly certain that you don't generate gold, right? So it becomes actually impossible to actually have positive Fiestas in the late game. But just as I said with Cartel, this can sort of be used in either direction. You can use this to over push income king, like old Doofus, right? Making the waves really long. And I'm just trying to scale with workers and income. Yes, I lose some gold to the wave, but because I'm generating so much money, I'm compounding, pays off. You can also use it aggressively because the waves are so long because you're leaking. You can go for nasty, nasty sends. I tend to like the first one, but do as you may. Greed, like I said, greed, sort of the basics, right? You get to choose from normal set of units, right? You get to pick a role. It's pretty basic. You get 5 income. It's nothing really crazy to it. You get a reroll. It is the original Mastermind outside of lock-in. It's just how people are playing the game. It's well balanced, you know. I mean, there's I'm not going to tell you should play greed aggressively or safely. Like it's you play greed the way you want to play greed, right? Like it's good income. It's a good Mastermind. Hybrid, you can only do this in classic, but just in case you've never seen it before, you get 5 income, and you have tiers 1 through 6, and it will show this thing. It'll show this, and it says tier 1, and every tier 1 is 18 gold, right? Or 20 gold, whatever it is. Every tier 2 is 38 gold, right? And so when you hit that button and you place a unit, it could be any tier 1 or any tier 2 or any tier 3, 4, 5, 6. And then it'll show, oh, you had a mass spirit plus 7 gold. Nice. You got lucky. And then you get a looter. It says, oof, you lost 8 gold. And then you do another one, and it's another looter. Oof, you lost 8 gold. Right? It's just it's a fun Mastermind to use in classic. I like it, and if you like overbuilding in the late game, this can work really well because you can start generating crazy amounts of gold if you're lucky. Kingsguard. This is a very, very controversial Mastermind, and it actually has one of the lowest win rates in the game right now. Kingsguard, 3 income, and your king gains 10% attack speed and damage reduction. So, here's the thing about Kingsguard. Your king becomes extremely important in the late game. In the late game, I would expect Kingsguard in a even game, if on wave 11 power score is even, everybody is very close together, I think Kingsguard would have a huge advantage. Now, can be the downside. If you're Kingsguard and you guys are leaking a lot early, yeah, you might not be taking a lot of king, but if you're giving a bunch of gold to your opponents, like it really doesn't pay off, right? You can only play defense for so long before you're just feeding your opponents. So how would I like to play Kingsguard? I mean, I guess you just play Kingsguard like a greed or even a castle. You just play it a little safer. Because me personally, like I want Kingsguard in the late game. Because it does help in the late game. When we're getting to wave 12, 13, and so forth, it does pay off massively. And you do need king ups. You do need king ups. That's another thing to think of with Kingsguard. You don't just automatically not have to upgrade your king, right? Like 2 AoE and 2 attack is probably better than having Kingsguard, right? Like that does matter. So just to let you know. But it's okay, you know. It's okay. I would say Kingsguard isn't as effective because you never really want to give your opponents like free gold, right? You never want to say, oh, it's okay that they're attacking our king. Like Fiesta is sort of the same way, where it's risky, right? But at least Fiesta, you get gold, right? At least Fiesta, when I leak, I get gold. Kingsguard, although my king might be killing the creeps faster and more effectively, it doesn't give me any more gold. You know what I mean? I hope I can explain. I'm explaining that correctly, you know. But That's Kingsguard. Would love to see a buff. Lock-in. So lock-in has changed. Just so you know, like I'm gonna tell you. Lock-in used to have a different way to play it. Lock-in used to be 3 income. You would click on a unit, Priestess of the Abyss, boop, and then you would still get to pick your role, like Greed or like any of the other cash, like most of the Masterminds, and then you'd have a reroll. They changed it to be a little more newer player friendly, to where you choose your unit, Priestess of the Abyss, and then you look down and you have 5 other units. So the game gives you an auto drafted roll, right? The game is going to give you 5 units that hopefully hit most of the weak waves. Sometimes this can be really good. Sometimes this can be really bad, right? Sometimes they'll give you like, sometimes they will give you a Priestess of the Abyss and a Green Devil and a Willish Room, right? So something like that, where like it's just way too much arcane, and then you'll have like 1 natural tank, right? Happens, right? It's kind of like Yolo, you know. There's a little bit of luck to it, but lock-in is definitely more consistent, and you do have that redraw effect, right? And I mean, of course, it's pretty simple, right? If you're gonna play lock-in, choose the unit that you know how to play, right? Choose the unit that you enjoy. Choose the unit that you're good at. A lot of people say, Doofus, which mastermind should I choose? I know how to play Yozora really well, or I know how to play Pyro really well. Dude, just go lock-in. If you enjoy it, if you know how to play it, I know to place Pyro right here, and then whatever tier 3 I have, I put right here. Boop. Like if I know that, if I've calculated that, if I've played that a bunch of times, then why would you not just play lock-in a bunch? I mean, it's a solid plan. I just realized my camera is kind of silly, but that's fine. I look silly. Yeah. Now there is 2 parts to lock-in, right? There's random lock-in also. Random lock-in is a little bit different, where you get extra gold, right? Some free gold, the same income. I believe it's 8 gold. And you do not get to choose your 1 unit, right? It will give you that same assortment of 5 units, and then a 6th random assortment of units. So this is if you're a little more well-known with most of the units in the game. Can be pretty effective. But also if you're trying to learn, I think it can also be good. I would say lock-in can be used also anyway, where if you want it to be how to learn the game, if you want it to just be consistent and you're trying to win, I think it can be good. Megamind. Every single mastermind, with the exception of hybrid cannot be played in ranked. Megamind is random. Any mastermind is on the table. It clicks in, it goes, you know, like Wheel of Fortune or whatever, and it chooses a random mastermind for you, and you get an extra 1 gold. So with cash out, now you start with 272 gold. With minor, you start with 236 gold. With Fiesta, you start with 251 gold. That's all it is, right? It just gives you 1 gold. Now, people will ask me, Doofus, it's only 1 gold. Why the heck would I play that? Why? I'm really good at lock-in, or I'm really good at Cartel. Why the heck would I choose Megamind? If you are really proficient with all these masterminds, 1 gold can actually be very useful. 1 gold can actually be way more useful than you actually think. It really is. Like it helps you hit those breakpoints where you're not stuck at 49 gold on wave 2, wanting to push a worker, but you didn't get snailed on 1. You know, darn. You know, or oh, my canopy, upgrading to canopy, I'm at 179 on wave 4. Dang. Imagine if I had had 1 extra gold in this game, right? It can actually be really useful. Minor. You start with 235 gold, so minus 15 gold at the start. But for the entire game, workers are 5 gold cheaper. Another mastermind that can really be used anyway, with honestly very little penalty. I probably want to play some minor here in a sec. Now, you might push too many workers because they're like, wow, these are so cheap, you know, and you keep pressing them, and maybe you push too many. But the really cool thing about minor, the way that I like to play minor when I played it, when I was not doing silly stuff, trying to get as many workers as possible in the early game, the way that I liked playing Miner was when I get to the late game, right? If we're all even, sort of like that castle, if everybody's even come wave 11, right? And then let's assume everybody sends on wave 13, right? Let's assume, just for simple numbers, everybody receives a send on wave 13 and everybody gets 400 gold. Okay? Everybody gets 400 gold. Now that means everybody who's not Miner is going to get 8 workers. Okay? But my 400 gold, right? 400 divided by 45 is not 8 workers, right? It is almost 9 workers, right? But see what you're saying is, like, if everybody's getting to push with the same amount, you actually get to push more workers with Miner. And then that cascades, right? Now, when everybody gets sent on 16, because I had more workers, I might have sent more Mythium, and now everybody gets 1,000 gold, right? But I get 1,050, right? And now they get to push 20 workers, but my 1,050 turns into 23 workers. So in the late game, where there's a lot more gold in the game, this pays off way more. When everybody's pushing from 30 to 60 workers, I mean, 30 workers at a 5 gold discount, right? It's 150 gold, right? So Miner can really pay off in the late game. And that's why you'll see it a lot in classics, right? You'll see it a lot in classics. But I like playing in the late game. You can play it super aggressively in the early game. But just be careful. Don't buy too many workers because it can cascade pretty fast. Redraw. Redraw is an interesting mastermind. They've made a lot of changes to it over time. It actually has the highest win rate this patch so far. 4 income, a random roll, just like lock-in, right? Just like lock-in. A random roll, but infinitely random rerolls, right? So you'll have 6 units on wave 1, and you say, I don't really like these units. What you can do is you press redraw, and it costs you 1 gold at the start. 1 gold for like the first 5, 6 waves, I think. 1 gold, I get different 6 units. All right, these suck too. Redraw, another 6 different units. Now, can be really cool, but it can also have that chaos issue where you're so focused on getting that combination that you just keep burning through gold. Gold, redraw, gold, redraw. Like, you're just losing so much gold because you're so focused on... I've done this before. I've tilted out of my mind. I was really good at redraw Grarl into egg on wave 3. So I got the Grarl, and I'm redrawing, looking for that egg. I'm redrawing. I spent like 30 gold for the egg. It did not pay off for me. I got really mad. I tilted out of my mind. So the problem with redraw is, just like chaos, you're not guaranteed a unit. So you need to be a little flexible. You need to be a little flexible and say, okay, although I want Grarl into an egg, right? Into an egg sack for wave 3 or wave 2. I don't have to have that, right? Downsides to redraw. It does get a little more expensive as the game goes on. The redraw cost goes up. So if you're, once again, looking for that amazing combination in the late game, you want the Tree of Life on your Sovereign that has all these buffs. 8 gold a redraw. 9 gold a redraw. 10, 18 gold in the late game. Like, it can get really expensive. So watch out. Cool thing, it will show you down there, just like, I didn't say this with Fiesta. But with the Fiesta Mastermind, it will show you Fiesta plus gold gained. So if you leak 2 waves, 8 plus 10, it'll say Fiesta plus 18. And then it'll say lost gold to leaks minus 14. So you can see, oh, okay, 18 minus 14. I'm actually plus 4 gold. That's awesome. And then redraw, it'll say gold spent on redraw, right? So let's say you did 5 redraws in the early game. It'll say minus 5 gold to redraw. So it's pretty simple. Saboteur. This is a very, very interesting mastermind. One that I think makes you play different. But as in all, we can play games differently, depending on who we are. Saboteur. 6 income, 4 gold, so 254 gold. You cannot upgrade the king. Now, for me, this mastermind makes me play aggressive, right? I cannot upgrade the king. Yes, I can income, but after I send income, I just have to hold on to the Mythium until the next wave, and then I can income again, but I cannot king, right? So for me, I see Saboteur as the aggressive mastermind, right? And that's why I despise playing it. I don't like when I get it with Megamind. But the numbers are actually really good. Like, you do not have to play it the way that I mentally play it. But when I see that I cannot upgrade the king, I'm like, okay, I got to put pressure on my opponent. Okay, he's a gate guard open. I got to send a brood on wave 4, you know? Oh, he's a priestess of the abyss. I've got to send power mercs on wave 7, right? For me, because I cannot upgrade the king, I see it as, oh, I have to put pressure on my opponents. I have to send power mercs. I have to play aggressively. You don't have to do that. I've seen many people just leave the income on and play great games with Saboteur. The downside, of course, is if your teammate does not king up, and even though you guys are ahead, you guys both leak 30% on wave 13, both of you, right? Very small leagues. But your damn teammate also is playing Saboteur in his mind, and he's not upgrading the king. It can be really damning, right? Small leagues can hurt when you have no king ups. So there's definitely some communication needed with Saboteur. One of those masterminds, I think communication is very important, just like a Fiesta, right? Saying, hey, I'm going to leak here, or hey, I'm aiming to send my guy wave 7. Hey, please do some freaking king ups, right? Very important. But not one of my favorites because I don't like being forced to play super aggressive, and I feel forced. Scrapper. Very controversial mastermind. It's been patched a couple of times, but it's sort of back in a good spot. 2 income, 2 gold, sell rate increased to 90%. It simply is you have pawn shop the entire game. That's all that needs to be said. You have pawn shop the entire game. You also do have a reduced chance to roll anglers. That's really what Scrapper is. So just think all the different possibilities you could do. You can go for eggs and then sell them to make more eggs. You can do angler steed for kingpins and then sell them for more anglers. You could use this to get out a tier 6 early on wave 2 or wave 3. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of possibilities with it. I mean, you have pawn shop, the Legion spell, pretty much the entire game. Downsides, if you are being saved on and you keep selling and saying, oh man, okay, I have a bunch of Trinity archers on wave 12, and I didn't receive a send, and I'm scared of 13, and I sell 2 of my Trinity archers, right, for a what's going to be bad on 14 also, for a Hades, right, for a Lord of Death into Hades, right, a magic unit that does a lot of damage on 13, and then they save. Oh crap. Okay, now I have to sell that Hades again because 14 I'm super weak. I place those 2 Trinity archers, and then they saved again. Now I got to sell those Trinity archers again to add the Hades back for 15, right? So yes, it gives you flexibility, but your flexibility can hurt you, right? If you're scared, or yeah, I mean, it's mostly if you're scared, or if you're so focused on getting that upgrade, can be bad. But one of the best ways that I've seen it played is either A, you're doing it for nasty overbuilding with eggs, nasty overbuilding with anglers, with bigwigs, banking with Sakuras, and then you can just sell these, or you can use them to generate tons of gold, right? Your value goes up, and then you can sell it for like half of them, like sell like 2 or 3 Sakuras, and then build a bunch of Millenniums on wave 14. It can be really nasty, and you're almost unleakable. Mac M, if you've watched, Mac M is one of the greatest ever to do that. You can also use it to like force out a tier 6 upgrade on wave 8 and then push like crazy hard. Like a Banana Haven wave 8, holy moly. You know, even a Sovereign on wave 8 really cooks. So pretty cool. Shepherd, one of the new masterminds. You get nothing special except a little tier 1, pretty much. A little tier 1 sheep that you can reposition the entire wave. This is a very high skill level mastermind. Let's just be honest about it. It's going to help you to push and adjust splits. That's really all it does. is you can be a little bit more aggressive at the start, because you have that extra, like tiny bit of extra value, and you also can position your splits differently every wave. The easiest way to describe Shepherd is imagine you play a Priestess of the Abyss, right? And you play it normal, waves 1 through 3, and then wave 4, you want her to tank a good amount, but not too much, you know? So you put a sheep on the right side down 1.5 tiles. Okay. And then you leave that for wave 5. You still want the Priestess to tank. And wave 6 comes up. And okay, I do not want her tanking more than 3 Roccos. So wave 6, I'm going to have the Priestess of the Abyss on the left. And then I'm going to have the sheep even to the Priestess on the right. Okay, now it's, and I hold. Okay, cool. Now it's wave 7. I need that Priestess of the Abyss to tank a little bit more, right? So now I pull it back and have the sheep down a tile, right? And so that's really what you do, right? You're sort of adjusting with your sheep, just as you would maybe with tier 1s or tier 2s, but you don't have to sell and replace, sell, replace, sell, replace. Is it good? Is it bad? We're gonna find out. I don't know so far. I don't know about Shepherd. It's interesting. Oh, in addition, one little thing, they did add a bunch of damage reduction on the sheep. So you can, oh, and I forgot, I'll tell you guys this too. You can also use it for like Chieftain Cheese, do a bunch of Desert Pilgrims, and then Chieftain Cheese, the sheep, which is cool. Also, I totally forgot to tell you, you can put a Legion spell on your sheep. The sheep can have a Legion spell like Hero or like Magician, and then you can move that around the entire game, right? So the simplest way to say is like, let's say you have 3 Zeuses and you chose Magician, and you put Magician on your sheep, and on wave 11, you put that sheep right next to those 3 Zeuses, they're going to have Magician. Now it's the late game, right? And you're getting sent on wave 17, and you actually want a bunch of Pilgrims, right? You don't want those Zeuses with the buff anymore. You want 6 Desert Pilgrims to heal. So then you can move your sheep over and have that getting the Magician buff. Same thing with Hero, you can just move it around. So that's probably one of the coolest things is Legion spells. And you can also use it for cheese, like a bunch of anglers with Magician into Kingpins, and then make a new set for Kingpins, for more anglers, things like that. Stash, 2 income. Start with the piggy bank with 11 gold. Each wave it gains gold, break it open to collect gold. This has also been heavily nerfed, so I have not seen anybody play this so far. But the basics of Stash, and it doesn't say it. If you leak, you double, I believe it's double. You gain double the gold that you would have gained for that wave. So starting wave 1, you have a piggy bank with 11 gold, right? If you open it and you're starting the game with 261 gold, why would you do that when you could just play cash out, right? It's not really beneficial. The cool thing is you save it until you're in trouble, right? You save it until you're in trouble. Like a wave 14, your piggy bank has like 230 gold. Everybody's getting sent on 14, and you open it, and you go from being 300 under to only 70 under. You do amazing, and they're like, where did he get that gold from? Hey, I was Stash. That's the basics of it. But the next level to it, and you really need to be careful, is with Stash, you can almost play it like Fiesta or like aggressive like Cartel, where if you do leak, it will double the gold you get for that wave. I don't have the exact numbers. I haven't played that much Stash, but like the basics would be, okay, wave 1, you gain 2 gold for your Stash, but if you leak, you actually gain 4 gold for your Stash, right? Same thing like wave 5. You would gain 5 gold, but if you leak, you actually gain 10 gold to your Stash. So you can play it aggressive. The downside, of course, and I've had this happen before, is if you do not use your Stash when it is important. I had a wave 19, and it was a heartbreaking game where we were ahead. It was a wave 19, everybody sends, and my teammate chose to save a 600 gold Stash, and we barely lost, and that teammate would have held, and we would have won the game 100%. There was no doubt about it. if you save your stash for the next game, it's not good, right? It's like playing without a mastermind, right? You get 2 income and nothing else, right? I don't think there is any mastermind here that only gives you 2 income, but so just be wary. Use the stash when you're in danger, right? Yes, you can use it early, but you need to mentally factor, is me leaking big on wave 3 and losing like 10, 15 gold? As important as me leaking on wave 13, right? And losing 230 gold and king damage, right? So aim to use it later, but if you're being saved on and you're really in danger of dying or taking massive hits, then an early popping of stash can be effective. And YOLO. 7 income, 3 gold, fully random roll. Super RNG, and you have no rerolls. Super RNG, you can get some of the best rolls of all time and some of the worst rolls of all time. Only play this if you really know what you're doing, and also if you're not going to get tilted. Because YOLO can absolutely ruin your day. What do I mean by that? I think YOLO, since we're done with this, I will show you some YOLOs here. So select YOLO. It's a good roll. It's a great roll right here, right? We've got magic, we've got some damage, we've got Pierce Arcane, we've got some tankage, a fantastic roll. This is really nice. This is a good YOLO, right? So this is one of those situations where YOLO was good. Another good YOLO, right? Right? We've got some tier 6s. We've got some early game units. What is our weak wave? We're kind of weak 14. Maybe a little bit 12, but really we don't have that many weak waves, right? Let's see if we can get a really bad one. Bingo.
Welcome to Nova.
What do I do in this role? Right? This is perfect. This is one of those situations. What the heck do I do? I literally don't have a single tank unit. There's not a single tank unit, right? I mean, DPS. It even says it, right? This right here is the downside of YOLO. You have the second highest income in the game, right? And you get some extra gold to start with. But holy moly, is it RNG. And there's no reroll. There's no reroll. You can't say, oh shoot, I need tanks. You are absolutely cooked. This will end win streaks, right? Because how do you play this? You probably go crab on 1, push to 5, add a copter on 2, and then a second crab on wave 3. Probably need to overbuild and do another crab on wave 4 or the archer. But you're just going to have so many crabs, and you're going to have to use damage as your tanks, right? So that's a problem. That is a problem, Mastermind. But it can be amazing. It can also be very good. But I think that was it. This is a very long video, and it's hilarious that my camera had me looking like I'm like 5 feet 3 inches tall. I'm not. I'm 5'9". But I hope this was useful for you guys. I know there's so many masterminds in the game right now that I wanted to do an overview. I was pumped, I was focused, and I was thinking about Legion because this new season it's really analytical so far. There's a lot of science. There's a lot of statistics going behind it, and you have to when there's this many masterminds. How do I know which mastermind I want to play, right? Well, going over which one works best for me, is really helpful, I like playing aggressive income king, so the Cartel, the Fiesta, minor maybe it could work really well, If I like playing more for the late game, a castle, an evolution, a redraw or a chaos because I want to go for those crazy combos, that could also work really well. If I want to go super overbuildy and be a complete chicken, scrapper works really well. Chaos can work really well. Castle can also work really well. Aristocrat, right? Like there's different options and different playstyles. But I hope this was very useful to you guys. Please let me know if you want more sort of learning and science-based stuff for Legion TD2. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.